Okay, good afternoon. Welcome back if you're here this morning. So we're going to do now just a 25-minute level 1 to 2 flow. So we're not going into any vinyasas. Just a little bit of movement to wake the body up, to break up your day if you're, if you're working all day or if you're studying or anything like that, just to kind of get you up, get you moving a little bit and help open the body up rather than sitting in a stiff position for the entire day. So we're just going to go ahead and get right to it. You shouldn't need any props this morning, this afternoon. So you're going to start in a seated position, and we're going to actually start in Badakanasana, which is a fold. So your knees are bent. Drop the knees out to the sides. Soles of the feet are going to touch. You can sit on a prop if you need a little bit of help here for finding a long spine. Otherwise, the mat is absolutely fine. And then just inhale, take a big lengthening of your spine, and then exhale, start to lean forwards through your chest. So the chest is coming forwards a bit over the heels. Your belly button is reaching towards the heels to help keep your back flat rather than letting it round in. And we're just going to hang out here for maybe 5 deep breaths. So we're moving right into the practice here. Finding a long spine on the inhales and maybe a bit of opening through the hips on the exhales. Take just one more there. And then go ahead, come on up from that fold. Draw the knees up towards one another so the knees are together. Feet are still on the mat. If you're sitting on a prop, you can go ahead and remove it. You shouldn't need it here. And we're just going to come into a couple of light twists. So keeping the knees together, take the left arm to the outside of your right thigh somewhere. Now squeeze the knees together so that they don't tip over to the left. So you've got left arm on the outside of the right leg. Take the right hand behind you. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, start to turn towards the back edge of your mat. So the hips are grounded here. Your right shoulder is rolling back. Just another 2 breaths on this side. Last one. And then coming back around to the center. Just take a second, draw the knees in, give yourself a little hug, letting that one side of your twist release. And then we're going to set up the other side. So feet are down, knees are together. Take the right tricep or right forearm to the outside of your left thigh. Left hand onto the mat behind you. Inhale, lift. Exhale, turn. Your gaze might go back over your left shoulder here. Just another 2 or 3. And then release. Come back around to the center. Draw the knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug once again. And then we're going to roll right through into downward facing dog. So just cross your ankles. Roll over your knees. Now, if down dog is going to be a little bit too much, just hang out in tabletop position and you're going to do basically the same things that we're about to do. Otherwise, tuck your toes under, lift the knees, and reach back through the chest. Now, if you're hanging out in tabletop, just stay there for a couple more breaths. If you're in down dog, you can walk the dog a little bit. So just bend one knee, pressing into the opposite heel, finding a little bit of length through the back of that straightening leg. And then switch, bending the other knee, straightening the opposite. And just do 1 or 2 more on each side. Finding a little bit of length in the backs of the legs. And then go ahead, come back to stillness at the center. Your knees might be bent a little bit. That's absolutely fine. Just so long as you've got some length in your spine, you might be able to straighten out the legs. But if it causes your back to round, just keep the knees bent a little bit. Then from here, come into 3-legged dog or 3-legged tabletop. So lift the right leg behind you. If you're in tabletop, that leg just wants to be parallel to the ground. If you're in down dog, then you can reach that leg as high as you can. Take another deep breath. Then everybody start to open your right hip. Spin the right hip up towards the ceiling. The right leg is still straight, lift it a little bit higher. Your chest is still neutral. Then bend your right knee and reach the right foot over to the left side of your mat. If you're in three-legged dog, you might look under your left armpit, see if you can catch a glimpse of your right toes. And then come back to neutral, spin the right hip back down, straighten the right leg, and set the right foot down or the right knee down if you're in tabletop. And then just into the other side. Lift your left leg up. So you're just in a neutral hip position to start. Your hips are closed facing the mat. Reaching back through the chest if you're in down dog, just keeping your chest facing the mat if you're in tabletop. Start to open your hip. Driving down through the right leg to lift your left hip up. The left foot reaches up a little bit. And then bend your knee. Reach over through the left foot towards the right side of the room. Take another deep breath, reaching back through the chest. And then come back to neutral, closing off the hip. Set the left foot down next to the right. And then inhale, step your right foot all the way up between your hands. So we're moving right into it this afternoon. So the right foot is forward, you're coming into warrior two. The back heel is going to spin all the way down, windmill, the arms up and open. So once the arms are open, they're reaching forwards and back, palms are facing down. Take a couple moments just focusing on your feet and your legs. The back toes are facing over the left side of your mat. The front toes are facing forwards. Back leg is really strong. You're engaging the quad, helping that back hip to roll open. And the front knee is being driven out over your front pinky toe so that your front hip is open. Take one more deep breath here. And coming into extended side angle, Parsvakonasana. Bring your right forearm down to your right thigh and then reach the left arm overhead over the front edge of your mat. Few breaths here. Now, legs are still doing the same thing. You're still pressing into the outer edges of both of your feet, keeping the back leg really strong, keeping the front knee out. Then your upper body is opening here as well. So the top set of ribs are rolling back. Your bottom shoulder is moving away from the ear, so you've not dropped into it. You're lifting up out of it. Take two more. Last one. Then come on back up to the top. Inhale, lift up through the left arm. Reverse warrior. Keep the hips, keep the legs exactly where they are. Flip your front palm up. Bring the back hand down onto your back thigh. Again, keep the back leg really strong. Inhale, lift up through the right arm. Exhale, reach over and back through the right arm. Front knee stays forwards. It doesn't come with you. Lower ribs stay in. Take one more. Back to warrior two. Inhale, lift up. Now, bring your hands onto your hips. You're going to spin forwards into crescent lunge. So your front foot might need to heel toe out an inch or two. Then turn onto the ball of your back foot. Your hips are going to turn forwards. Your chest is facing forwards. Now we're going to come into a really brief one-legged balance here. You've got a couple options to do that. First option, your slightly easier option, you're going to come straight up to the top of your mat, and then we will set the balance from here. Second option, if you're pretty comfortable with balancing on one leg, you're just going to shift forwards into your front foot, draw the left knee straight up towards your chest. If you had the left toes on the mat, go ahead, start to bend the knee, bring it up towards you. You might keep the toes on the mat, you might float them. The knee might eventually come all the way up towards your belly. Now, once you have your balance, you might have your hand on the wall, that's fine if you need that, or on a chair next to you or something, that's absolutely fine. From here, coming into tree pose for a few deep breaths. First option, your foot, you're going to turn your knee out wherever you are. First option, the foot is going to press into the ankle of your right foot, having the toes on the mat, helping as a little kickstand. Second option, the left foot presses into your right calf. Final option, your left foot presses into your right inner thigh. Wherever you are with the legs, bring your palms to prayer at your chest center. The left foot is driving into the leg as the left knee pulls out to the left side. Just take another 2 deep breaths here. Shoulders are back and down, chest is lifted. Last one. Now, left knee comes forwards, release. Set the left foot onto the mat. Arms can come down by your sides. And we're just going to come back into that lunge, but we're going to do it from the other side. We're moving into warrior two. So just take a little bend of your knees. Your right leg is going to take a big step back. So we came into this from down dog on the first side. We're just stepping back into it on this side. So your right foot is back now. Right toes facing over the left edge of your mat. Left toes are facing forwards. Arms reaching forwards and back. Couple of deep breaths. Pressing into the outer edges of both of your feet, gripping with the toes. Your shoulders here are stacked right on top of your hips. They've not come forwards out in front of your hips. Keep the hips right underneath your shoulders. Then into extended side angle. Keep the opening of the hips. Bring the left forearm onto your left thigh. Reach the right arm overhead through the front edge of your mat. Still pressing into the outer edges of your feet. Still keeping your front knee reaching out a little bit so that front hip is opened. Another maybe 3 deep breaths. Top rib cage rolling up and back. Bottom rib cage coming under you as that bottom shoulder rolls back. Last one. Back to the top warrior two. Inhale, lift up. Reverse warrior. Legs stay the same. Bring the back hand down onto your back thigh. Flip the front palm up. Inhale, lift. Now this lift is creating length not only in the left side but in the right side of your body as well. So both sides lift up. Then exhale, reach back. Keeping as much length as you can in the right side, not just collapsing into those ribs. Keep lifting them out. And you're exaggerating the length in the left side now. 2 or 3 more breaths. That front hip is going to stay heavy. As the hip goes down, the top side reaches away. Maybe 1 more. Warrior two. Inhale, lift up. Then hands to the hips. Again, you're turning forwards. So front toes, for me, I need to heel toe my foot out a little bit. You might not need to, but front foot might heel toe out an inch or so. Then as the upper body turns forwards, spin onto the ball of your back foot, gracefully as possible. Coming to the top of the mat. So use your same option from the first side. Some of you will have just stepped up, bringing your right foot next to the left, and then try to set your balance. Others will have shifted right into the left foot and brought the right knee right up in towards you. Take a second finding your balance, focusing on the left sole of the foot, the bottom of your foot. Watch where the pressure shifts in the foot, into the sides, into the corners. That's going to tell you where your weight is going, and that's going to help you to make small adjustments for your balance. Now, from here, setting tree. First option, the right toe is on the mat, the heel is on the ankle. Second option, the foot is pressing into your calf. Final option, the right foot is pressing into your left thigh. You don't want to be on the knee, just be above or below the knee here. Once the legs are set, palms to prayer and pause. Again, just taking notice of the shift in weight in the sole of your left foot. Keeping tall posture. 1 or 2 more. Shoulders are back, but the back of the neck is long. And then you're going to release. Draw the right knee forward. Set the right foot to the mat. Release the arms to your sides. Inhale, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, fold, hinging at the hips. Bringing the hands all the way down towards the mat. Inhale, lift the chest for a flat back. Coming down into Malasana. So keeping the feet together, start to bend the knees, dropping the hips down towards your heels. Now the heels will probably lift off of the mat here unless you have super flexible ankles, which I do not. Some of you will be able to keep the heels down, but don't worry if they lift. Go ahead, open the knees out wide. Let them drift apart. Now, your hips are going to sink back a little bit, and then the upper body, the arms, are going to start to walk forwards, bringing the torso down in between your thighs. This isn't so much about how far forwards you can get your arms. It's about creating more flexion in your hips and a deeper stretch for your hips here. So don't bring any weight into your hands. You should be able to lift your hands off of the mat without face planting forwards. If you do have weight in your hands, it just means that your hips have come forwards. So pull the hips back again. Let the heels drop deeper towards the mat as the arms reach further forwards. And we're just going to take maybe 3 to 5 breaths. You can let the neck relax here if it feels good, or you can reach forwards through it. Couple more. And then release. Walk the hands back in, and you're just going to come down as gracefully as possible into a seat. So just have a seat back and down. For some of you, that probably will not have been very graceful. It's okay. Bring the legs straight out in front of you. Bend your right knee up towards you. Drop the right knee out to the side. Janusirasana. So your right foot is pressed into the left inner leg, and the left leg is strong and pushing back into the foot. Now, inhale, lift the arms, reach the chest. Exhale, fold, hinging forwards. The hands come to that left leg somewhere. Your inhales here are going to lengthen your spine. The exhales are going to add a little bit more flexion into your hips maybe. Getting a bit more stretch in the back of that left leg. You might feel something in your right hip as well. You might not. And then go ahead, release. Come on up to the top. Bring the right knee up towards you and then release the right leg long. You're just switching sides. Bring the left knee up. Drop the left knee out. Left foot pushes to the right inner leg. The right leg pushes back to the foot. Inhale, lift and reach. Exhale, hinge and fold. Thinking more about chest to toes rather than forehead to shin. You want this to be a forwards fold rather than a downwards fold. Take one more breath here. And then release back up to the top. Bring the left knee up and then bring the right knee up as well. And you're coming down onto your back. So when you're ready, when you're settled, take the knees with you and roll back and down onto your back. We're just coming into an easy bridge pose here. So release your knees, setting the feet down. Your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. The heels, are a little bit wider than your toes as well. Once the feet are set, push down through them, push down into your hands. Inhale, start to lift your hips. Once the hips have got a bit of height, walk the shoulders together underneath you. And then maybe interlace the fingers under you as well. If that's a little bit too much, then just keep the palms pressing down into the mat. Otherwise, reach the knuckles towards your heels with that bind. 3 breaths, reaching the chest back towards your chin. Take one more. And then release the bind if you took it. Separate your shoulder blades. And then just roll down one vertebrae at a time. Bring the middle back to the mat next. And then the lower back will settle down last. Once you're on the mat, take a breath. And then coming into a final little twist here. Shift your hips to the right side of your mat so they move over a bit. The feet and the knees come together. Then draw the knees into your chest and drop both knees across to the left side of your mat. Let the hips tip over and take the gaze out over your right shoulder. You can use that left hand on the top of your right thigh here, helping to keep the knee pulling across. Just one more on that side. And then come on back to the center, hips to the middle, knees can draw into your chest. And setting up the other side. Release the knees, set the feet down. Your hips are going to move to the left side of your mat. Feet and knees together, knees to the chest, and then the knees will drop to the right side of the mat. Gaze over your left. 3 to 5 breaths. And then back to the center. Knees to the belly. And then when you are ready, you're preparing your Savasana. So go ahead, release the legs. Let them go long to the mat. The arms can drop down by your sides. Palms facing upwards. If there's a more comfortable position for your body, you're welcome to find it. Close your eyes. Savasana. Release the fingers and the toes, ankles and wrists, knees and elbows. Let the hips and the shoulders sink down into the mat. Your lips may slightly part as you release your jaw. Softening the space between the eyebrows. Listening to any sounds that may be around you. Letting them wash over your body, creating stillness. Finding the space that exists inside your mind. And finding some peace. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Introducing some movement in the fingers, the toes, the ankles and wrists. Inhale to reach the arms overhead, reaching long through the fingers and through the toes. Exhale, draw the knees into the belly, wrap the arms around them, giving yourself one last big hug. rocking from side to side. Eventually winding up on your right hand side, using your right bicep as a pillow. Remaining in Savasana with your eyes closed. And when you're ready, press into your left palm, coming up to any comfortable seated position. Palms may press together at chest center if you choose. May you take only what is offered, take only what you need, and always give more than you take. Stay safe, stay kind, and stay patient. Thank you. Namaste.